Will the Miek inherit the meta? Find out what I think about this card as I hereby summon all my imps to join me on my adventures through Marvel Snap. Hey everybody, it's Annabelle. So the brand new card that we got this week is very, very Miek, and not at the same time. So I'm going to talk about the brand new card. I'm going to go over a little bit of the history of this card, some of the synergies, and my 5-star rating for it. So Miek is a member of the planet Sakaar's native race of insectoids that are born in a hive. When he was young, local Imperials attacked and killed his father and most of his hive, forcing Miek to flee underground. He is soon found and enslaved, but manages to escape and become an outcast slave. Miek entered the world early and was not as physically developed as his siblings. However, the harsh world of Sakaar made him learn how to survive. He eventually got into the gladiator work, where he learned to fight with all four of his arms. He also began to thirst for vengeance and freedom for all insectoids. Miek joined the Warbound, and they aided him in securing his revenge. Miek helped his brothers discard many forces along the way. As he got stronger, he added the Warbound to his hive. Within a short time, he underwent a metamorphosis to evolve into a giant, heavily armored king version of his race. Miek is a strong and powerful leader of the insectoids. He will make sure you understand that he will never stop making those who hurt his race and planet pay. This is mostly because his whole species is about to die out. He fights for today only. He does not do this out of anger, just to have something to fight for. Powers. Miek possesses superhuman strength, durability, telepathy, and flight. He also adapted a 6-arm fighting skill, often wielding 4 weapons at a time to keep his opponents off balance. Miek's fight and his thirst for vengeance is represented in Marvel Snap by him getting stronger as others are discarded, then him flying off to fight again. In the game of Marvel Snap, Miek is a 1-cost, 1-power card with the static ability that after each turn, if he discarded any cards, he gains +1 for each card that was discarded, and then he moves at the end. So some synergies for him. I feel he's about a 3-star card here. Right in the middle, almost the definition of the 3-star card. The first card you gotta look at when comparing Miek is, does he pass the martyr test? And it's not hard for him to get above 5, above 6 without really putting forth too much effort. The other card that you kind of got to look at is Kraven, because Kraven is one of the few cards that gets powerful when cards move to his location. The issue with Kraven is, on a good day, it's getting into there like 3, maybe 4 times. Because you need activators to make the Miek happen. But if you can get into there, it can be powerful. the problem that you fall into is the same problem that you kind of fall into. So if you don't get Miek on 1 and you play Miek on 2, you're basically looking at getting about the same power stats as of Silk, unless you get really lucky. And the Silky Smooth Craven have kind of fallen out of favor right now. But it's not bad because you have a little bit more ability to control when it happens, as opposed to Silk that just happens randomly. Another one that you kind of got to look at now, believe it or not, is with the new change to Kingpin. If somehow the Miek falls into Kingpin's territory, unless you discarded 2 cards, I should say, it's going to actually lose power if it flips into there. But there are some synergies that you can do with it. Kinda gotta watch out for the Cowling Wayne in the discard deck, because Miek is so low. So if you play the Cowling Wayne before you play the Miek, it's going to discard the Miek most likely, and it doesn't get you any power off of it. Also, Second Dinner has confirmed, at least at this point, that it will not work with stuff like Invisible Woman. It's not going to happen at end of game effects. So if you side a Modok the Hide Invisible Woman, you're not going to get the power off of it. Also, you gotta watch out for stuff like Hulkbuster, because as much as you get the power of Miek getting +5 with the Hulkbuster, it doesn't get any extra power when it moves after that point. It's not ×2 its power. It's not cost power on that time. So if you put a Hulkbuster on this and then move it again, it's still going to be at that point it'd be a 6 for getting the Hulkbuster on it, and then it gets 7 when it moves. Also, with the way they wrote it, they made it so that it was Gambit proof, with just the fact that even though Gambit could shoot 100 times, because it happens at the end of the turn, it'll get all that power for it happening 100 times, but it's still only going to move just once. But even with all that being said, there are some decently good cards like Hellcow, which should just put this up and give it 2 cards. And of course, the card that everybody's got to look at when you're looking at this card is Modok. Modok, if you got a decently good hand, it will discard 6 cards. That means that it's a 1/7 at the beginning of the game. So basically at that point, you're getting about things like stats, but you just have to play into it a little bit more. I think on a good day, it can fall somewhere around an 8, 9 without really going crazy. And there's going to be somebody who finds some weird way where it becomes like a 1/12, 1/13. But I'm not sure how you make that work, honestly. But there are cards that you can discard in here that would be worth it. Looking at stuff like Lady Sif to discard purposeful cards like Wide the Apocalypse. But just remember, it won't get a buff from the Dracula if you're playing the Dracula version of this. So for this particular week, we've got the Phoenix Force. Card that needs still a little bit of push. It's like right on the edge of being useful. I would like if Phoenix Force got just a little bit better. It's like right there. It's like one tweak. If it became a 4/6, it might change how Phoenix Force works going forward. It's that close. the other count for this particular week is a nihilist. A nihilist did take a hit in the patch with all the patch notes and with all the buffs and debuffs that happened to nihilist. But if you have a nihilist, you do need the sentry. If you don't have the sentry, you don't need the nihilist. You need the hood. Now, some of these cards are a lot easier to get a hold of than they used to be, but it's its own deck. And nihilist is not a card that you play in just a random shell. You make an nihilist deck. So for this particular week, it's decent if you don't own anything. Your nihilist isn't bad, the Phoenix Force isn't bad, but if you don't want to roll on this, that's fine. If you own the nihilist, I might think about waiting on the Miek. I, on the other hand, do roll every week gift for the Cockton, so let's find out what's in the box. What's in the box? Let's all find what's in the box. Boxes. Phoenix Force. I believe I'd done once before a video out, so I might think of something else to do for this week. But I will look and see if I did do Phoenix Force before. Anyways, I want to thank you all so much for watching. And as always, remember, play for fun.